Hello everybody and welcome to part 13 of this series. Today we're going to talk about Neptune and Saturn in twin flame and divine counterpart connections. Yeah, this video again is a bit longer than expected. You see what we're going to cover here. Now I thought should I have separated those two, but no, they do belong together, kinda like Saturn and Neptune in twin flame and divine counterpart connections. You will find out why, but yeah, let's start with this video. So Neptune in divine counterpart connections. The question is, are Neptune connections in synastry a hint at a twin flame or other divine counterpart connection? Well, Neptune, it is the planet of visions, dreams, spirituality, but also addictions, escapism, secrets, the hidden and unknown, confusion and illusions. And Neptune, it is a gas planet and it has no clear boundaries. So I guess you can already tell how this could be a problem. Confusion, illusion, escapism, addiction, or being obsessed with someone, all of that can of course play in false twin flame connections. So this planet Neptune, it is connected to the zodiac sign of Pisces and the 12th house in astrology. And Pisces, you need to remember, is co-ruled by Jupiter. I just recently did a video on the age of Aquarius and twin flames, so I was talking a lot about the age of Pisces that came before the age of Aquarius. So we were talking a lot about Piscean energy in that video. You may want to check it out if you're interested in that. But since Neptune, it is far away from the sun, so it moves very slow and it is not a personal planet, it's a generational planet. And since Neptune spends about 14 years in one sign, it is way less important in what sign it falls, because again, everyone within a range of 14 years has the same Neptune sign. One needs to consider the house and the even more important aspects that Neptune forms. Some astrologers read Neptune as the higher octave than Venus, but since it is a generational planet, it is less connected to romantic love. The ancient Greek divided love in different subcategories. We have eros, that's the romantic, erotic, and passionate love. Then we have philia. You know this probably from librophilia, people who like to read, or, well, there's other philia words we won't say in this channel. But philia means love. You mean philosophy, maybe you know. Phil is love and Sophie is wisdom, so philosophy is the love of wisdom. So we do have love in there as well. So, but philia is the love of friends and your equals, you know, your peer group. And then agape, it's the love of mankind. So it's even broader. So we see that we go broader here from eros to philia to agape. Whereas Venus would be eros, romantic love, and maybe even philia, friendship. Because when you have a synastry between you and your best friend, or even you and a relative you have, then of course you may have Venus connections. But a Venus connection between you and your best friend does not mean that you have romantic feelings for each other. It would be philia, love. But so Venus, it is not strictly limited to romantic love, but of course also connected to eros, romantic love. Neptune would be in the agape, the love of mankind kind of love. I wrote here similar to Uranus. Why? Because Uranus is connected to Aquarius. Aquarius is connected to humanitarianism. Did I pronounce that right? Doing humanitarian work. It is the water bearer. It is trying to help mankind. We have this kind of energy here. So Aquarius or Uranus energy would also be very much connected to agape. Neptune is connected to transcendental love. It can be, which can also be connected to twin flame and divine counterpart love. So it would not be a surprise if you and your twin flame, you would have Neptune, positive Neptune connections. So positive Neptune connections give a taste of this transcendence and the unearthly feeling of love. Unearthly, remember, it's not eros, it's not the more passionate, you know. Mars could be falling into that as well, even though Mars is more like the passionate aspect, whereas in eros it is love that includes passion, you know, romantic love. But when we have Neptune involved, it has like this unearthly feeling, like it's something stronger. I did not write fate in here. It may be a sense of fate, but I believe fate would be more connected to the nodes, the south and the north node, also the vertex. Juno is the asteroid of soulmates or soul connections, twin flames as well. That would be more a hint. And Pluto connections can be very fated. So I didn't write fate here because I wouldn't give that much emphasis on fate when it comes to Neptune. But yes, when you have this transcendental love and you feel like this is like a love from another world, of course it can feel fated as well. So let's talk about Neptune connections in synastry. So the positive Neptune connections, which would be the conjunction, the trine, the sextile, it can feel like the higher love. But the same can happen if one person's personal planets, remember, are Sun, Moon, Venus, Mercury, and Mars, falls into the other person's 12th house. So if you have one of your planets, personal planets in your person's 12th house, or vice versa, that would be very similar than having a Neptune connection. So everything I say right now would also include, the Sun in the 12th house, the Moon in the 12th house as well. So if you have a connection between one person's Neptune and the other person's Sun, there is this feeling of being soulmates or meant for each other. This can absolutely happen here. The Sun is a big part of who we are, and if those two meet in a positive connection, it can highlight this transcendental feeling, of course. Neptune and the moon is our hidden. You see, Neptune, we were talking about, it can be mysterious, the hidden aspects, like Pluto as well. Pluto is also our hidden shadows. Neptune is what is hidden, and the moon is our strongest emotional aspect. The moon, it can shine, even though it hasn't any shine by itself. It only shines when the sun shines on it. But the moon can have the glow, and then there's a new moon and you don't see it. So we do have a strong emotional connection when we have those two meet, but it can be fragile because it can lead to escapism or codependency, even if it's a positive connection. So we have to watch out what else do we have here in the birth chart. Especially when we talk about Neptune as a generational planet, we have to check out other factors as well. Then we've got Neptune in Venus, or somebody's Venus in the other person's 12th house. There is a strong romantic bond, but on the negative side, even if it's a positive connection, it can lead to idealism. You put someone on a pedestal, which of course can often happen in false twin flames connection, when one person is falsely labeling the other person their twin flame, and it's trauma bonding or something like that. Then Neptune and Mercury, or somebody's Mercury in the other person's 12th house. We do have telepathy here. Mercury is the thinking, and Neptune is very much connected to picking up information. It's the Piscean energy. So there can be a strong bond. And we do have that here, Neptune and Venus, the strong romantic bond. And Mercury, we do have twin flame telepathy. It is a thing. My twin flame and I, for example, his Venus and his Neptune are in my 12th house. So we do have this going on. Then we do have Neptune and Mars. There is this magnetism. Opposites attract. Neptune and Mars are very opposing energies. Mars does not like to be in the 12th house too much. It is nothing close to its natural habitat. So it does need a lot of acceptance, even if it is a positive connection. But of course you can make it work if you have other amazing stuff going on. But there's a big but. But Neptune, it is the planet of illusion, and you've probably seen it, especially in the twin flame community. Many people falsely label someone their twin flame because of this limiting it to running and chasing. Just because there's running and chasing doesn't mean that it is a twin flame. I do have videos why the separation is so important. You will find it in the Twin Flame 101 playlist. I have, I think, 3 videos so far that look at this from different angles, why there needs to be a separation if the other person is your mirror, and if you have unhealed trauma when it comes to fear of abandonment. Of course your person cannot be there. They have to mirror that back to you. But what's so painful in a twin flame connection, and I always say that, it's not that they are toxic towards you. It's not that they are abusive towards you. That's not a twin flame connection. A divine counterpart would never be toxic towards you. However, they would ghost you if you have that specific fear, and that's not on them. If you eat unhealthy and then you have pimples and your mirror shows you pimples, it's not your mirror's fault to show you pimples. It's your own fault for eating unhealthy and then getting pimples. And if you have fear of abandonment, it's not your person's fault to withdraw. It's your, not fault, but you're adult now, so it's your responsibility to take care of that. It's not your person's fault ever. It's not the other person ever. What's painful in these connections is that we project our needs onto them. I need you to be here because I have fear of abandonment, so I need you to be here. And they don't give you what you need. They don't fulfill your needs because it's not their job to fulfill your needs. It's your job, and then they come as a bonus. Twin flame union means that you are in your own power, that you became the queen or empress, and then you can attract the emperor or a king or whatever level you're on. But you have to step into that power. The needy princess can only attract the prince that is not mature enough to give her any stability, or vice versa. So it's your job to get into that energy. So many people, they just see this running and chasing stuff and they say, oh, it's twin flame, when it may be just toxic cycle, karmic cycles. It has nothing to do with a twin flame. A twin flame would never be abusive or narcissist. Twin flames are not narcissists. That is simply the distorted feminine projecting, staying in victim mentality and pointing her finger at the other person. These kind of games. So since Neptune is the planet of illusion, it could highlight, a Neptune connection could be an indicator why some people feel a strong connection to someone. They have this sense of this strong love feeling, this transcendental feeling, but it's not real. It's an illusion. It's putting someone on a pedestal. It is idolizing someone, or it could be even someone that doesn't even know you exist if you haven't met your person yet, for example. So since the 12th house can talk about the hidden or secret affairs, having one person's personal planet in the other person's 12th house can indicate it is an affair that will not lead into stability. Sorry, I meant to say 12th and not 12th house. Forgive me. But yes, a 12th house placement, for example, one person's sun, moon, or Venus in the other person's 12th house, that can be an affair. That can be something that's hidden, that is secret, that is not getting out into the open. Like we are dating now, we are in a long-term commitment. It's secret. Or again, secret could mean the other person doesn't know you. So I will tell you what else needs to happen in your synastry chart in order to determine if you can get this connection grounded or not. So make sure you watch it till the end. Since Neptune and the 12th house also talk about secrets, your crush or twin flame, you see it's in those little lines. What are they called? I forgot. Your person, they might not even know you exist, depending on your situation. Of course, if you've dated them, then they do know that you exist. But if it's just like somebody you see at work and you've never really spoken, or even worse, you saw them on TV or social media and you're like, okay, that's my twin flame, then you may have Neptune connection, but they may not even know that you exist. That could be a thing, because again, it's illusions, it's hidden, it's secrets, it is not knowing something as well. So idolizing someone could be a problem that can happen in Neptune connections. Thinking some celebrity is one's twin flame could happen, if you have Neptune connections, or any other kind of delusional thinking. And that's what it is, delusional thinking. Being fixed on, addicted, or obsessed with someone can be a problem if you have Neptune connections. So one thing that needs to be looked at is what kind of connection does Neptune form to other person's personal planets. Is it a square, a quincunx, an opposition? That would highlight illusion rather than transcendence. So we have it here. That's just an example. I didn't have the sign. So Neptune would be blue. I just put it randomly somewhere. Here we do have 10th house. And then we have another person's Venus. So let's say this would be person A's chart, and then person's B Neptune would be in a 12th house, and it would be person's A Venus, and then they would form a trine. This is a positive thing, because a trine is one of the most positive connections we have, and so we do have the transcendental stuff going on here. So, but then here we do have the same thing. We have one person's Neptune. Let's say this would be your person's chart, and your Neptune would fall into your person's 10th house, and then their Venus would trine your Neptune. Amazing thing. But now we have a square between Saturn. So that's not a good thing. So this positive trine would here turn into a negative thing. It's no longer that positive because we do have something blocking this Venus. Here we do have a square between, let's say this is your person's chart, so it's your Neptune, and this would be your person's Venus. A square is a karmic aspect. So this would more likely highlight the illusional factor. Here I chose Mercury, and I place Mercury, let's say this would be your Mercury in your person's 12th house. And then what I said earlier, this could indicate that you have a telepathic connection, that there's telepathy going on here. Of course, this could have been Venus as well, so this is a good thing. But then, this is your Mercury in your person's 12th house, but then this is squaring Venus. And again, a square is a karmic connection. So this could highlight that this telepathic connection you think you have may not even be real, because there is something blocking it. So it could be in your head, it could be an illusion. So having Neptune or 12th house connections does not automatically hint at a twin flame or divine counterpart, even if those are positive connections. Because again, it could still highlight there is some idolizing going on. We saw earlier when we have a connection between Neptune and the other person's moon, that's not very positive. There could be some hidden shadows. Or Mars and the other person's Neptune. It can be good. You can make it good if you have other good stuff. But it can still, depending on the rest of your chart, rather highlight the illusion. So there needs to be another factor that shows that this connection can be grounded and turned into a long-lasting commitment. And remember, all twin flames, and I stand by that, all twin flames have the ability to get into this long-term commitment. I know there's some fraud coaches, unable coaches that say, oh no, not all twin flames get together. That's because they're not in a true twin flame connection. They met a fake twin flame or maybe a catalyst or something like that, and then they're projecting and then they're teaching false narratives. All twin flames can get together. If you have the desire, it is possible. The timeline is open. You just have to do the work. That's important. I teach in other videos how to do the work, not in the astrology videos. So it is the factor, the other factor. It's the factor that determines whether or not this connection is illusional, stays a secret or an affair, or can be lived with serious commitment. You may already know what is serious commitment in astrology. But if you already get some value out of this content, make sure you like and subscribe and hit the bell icon. This is a series. It is part 13. Make sure you watch the first 13 parts, the first 12 parts I meant to say. And of course, I do have other playlists of astrology. Who is your best match for each zodiac sign? Who would be a twin flame for Aries? Who would be a twin flame for Taurus? I do have that playlist. And of course, more divine counterparts in twin flame astrology videos on other playlists. So let's talk about Saturn in Divine Counterpart Synastry. So Saturn in astrology is one of the planets of karma, along with the South Node and Pluto. But it is also the planet of serious commitment. Did you know that? Saturn is not all bad. So Saturn rules Capricorn, and it co-rules Aquarius, along with Uranus, as well as the 10th house in astrology. Capricorn is an earth sign. Earth already is commitment. It is the 3D, the third dimension. It is bringing something into the third dimension, grounding it. And it is the sign of the achievement, and also overachievement can be Capricorn, and seriousness. And this is what we want, right? We want a serious relationship. We want somebody who is serious with us and serious about this commitment. So negative Saturn connections, and this could be opposition, squares, and the quincunx, highlight a karmic connection. However, in squares it can be overcome if there are many positive aspects that would hint at that, as well as the composite charts. You see that oppositions here, it's in italic, I believe it's called, because a Saturn-Venus opposition or Saturn-Moon opposition by itself, it's not a bad thing. Any Saturn connection, even a square, it's like super glue. It glues you together. Either you won't make it, it won't start the connection, you won't get it off the ground, either this, or you get together and then it is super glue. Even the negative ones can be a connection where you stay together, but it's not a happy connection. However, the opposition can be a bit different. You can learn to balance it if you have other positive stuff going on. The opposition is not necessarily as bad as a square or the quincunx. It is something that needs to be balanced, and then you have commitment. If it's harmonious, there's other factors that would determine that. Maybe you have a lot of trines going on as well, or you have another positive Saturn connection. So an opposition is showing a dynamic that will stay in the connection, and it has to be balanced, whereas a square can be overcome. I have a video on alchemize your connection, turn a square into a trine. You can check that out. So negative Saturn connections can either show relationships that do not get off the ground, or those where two people are in a relationship or marriage, but they are unable to get out even if they are unhappy. Again, Saturn connections, Saturn contacts can work like super glue. It's not a good thing necessarily. Positive Saturn connections, that would be the conjunctions, the trines, and the sextiles to another person's personal planet. In this case, it would be the Sun, Moon, and Venus. Mercury would not be too important. It's not a romantic placement, or Mars necessarily. Well, negative Saturn, Mars can be toxic, can be highly volatile. But positive ones, that would talk about, we like to do stuff. We have a dynamic connection. But in this case, Sun, Moon, Venus would be more important. They show serious commitment, and it is found in many long-term relationships. Also, of course, long-term friendships, not just romantic relationships. If a couple has no Saturn connections with both Saturns in synastry, this connection most likely won't be grounded, or they won't stay together even if they get together in the first place, but then it would be more like on off, long off, or long distance, and you cannot see each other or something. It would be very hard. If you have no Saturn connections at all, then there's most likely no relationship. Negative Saturn connections can turn into a relationship, just not a very positive one, since it is karma. Negative connections are difficult, especially since squares can indicate karma, and Saturn can be karmic and karmic aspect as well. And then we do have double karma here, so that is something it can be overcome, requires a lot of hard work though, and you would not find it in a twin flame connection. If someone attracts another person with negative Saturn connections, this hints at oppressed wounds, negative thinking patterns, or other factors that are not healed yet. Why? Because according to the law of attraction, we always attract mirrors. We always attract people that match our energy. And if you would attract somebody where you have a karmic connection or multiple karmic connections in astrology, that just highlights there is unhealed stuff, and this is why you attracted that person in the first place. They come to mirror you, they come to show you something that is oppressed, that is unseen, or that you've neglected, and now it's your time to look at it and do your work, heal it, address it. In a twin flame connection, we would most likely not find negative Saturn connections unless there are more positive Saturn connections, as negative ones way more, and there are other positive aspects that would overweigh one negative Saturn aspect. You have two Saturns anyway. You have your person's Saturn and your Saturn. If you have one negative Saturn aspect but a bunch of positive Saturn aspects, then that just shows you, there is some problem, some karma that we need to work on, but you can still ground a very beautiful connection, of course. Positive Saturn aspects, they show seriousness when it comes to the relationship and the possibility to ground it and turn it into a long-lasting relationship. However, other aspects need to determine if it is a happy and harmonious relationship or not. If you have a lot of squares between other planets, then even a positive Saturn connection would not help you. Astrology is like a puzzle. You need to have plenty of positive things going on and not just one single thing. So let's talk about Neptune and Saturn combines. So it should be apparent now that when Neptune or 12th house connections are found in synastry chart, then that must be Saturn connections as well. Why? Because Saturn is grounding, and otherwise it would be illusion, it would be a secret, it would be hidden, it would be something that is not lived. So yeah, otherwise there's a great possibility that one would falsely label someone their twin flame due to wishful and delusional thinking, even if you have positive connections. But if you have no Saturn connections on bad, like negative Saturn connections, this won't be grounded. If you have Neptune connections and negative Saturn connections, it would be a karmic relationship most likely, because remember, a karmic connection can feel a lot like a twin flame connection when it comes to the obsessive part. You most likely have Pluto involved as well. And then you have the obsessive, the wishful thinking, putting the person on a pedestal, and all of that going on. Saturn shows if this connection has the possibility to be grounded and turned into union or not. For that reason, a true twin flame connection most likely has both positive Neptune or 12th house connections and Saturn connections. So let's talk a little bit about astrology and manifesting, because maybe some of you are getting worried right now. Don't be worried. Please keep in mind, even if a person is not your twin flame and you do not have positive Saturn connections or Neptune connections, you can still manifest a long-lasting relationship. Please try to see astrology like a blueprint or like an empty apartment that you get to decorate. You have some free will in here as well. Remember, you're getting mirrored. If you heal your karma, if you heal your oppressed stuff, then you can change the relationship. You can manifest being with that person if you do the shadow work. That's necessary. You have to do the shadow work. So nothing is set in stone. It does not have to be a twin flame to be your true love as well. That's another thing. Many people, they meet somebody they really love and automatically say, oh, I love them so much, they must be my twin flame. No. Divine counterpart, I like to use that because it's an umbrella term. A soulmate can be your divine counterpart. A soul twin can be your divine counterpart. A twin soul can be, a twin soul is like a twin flame that's unawakened. A twin flame can be your divine counterpart. A mirror soul can be your divine counterpart. So it's not necessarily a twin flame. So please don't think, oh, it's not my twin flame, so they're not my person. That's absolute BS that's going on in this, like twin flame negative culture or wishful thinking, or there's a lot of wrong labeling going on. True love, a twin flame is true love, but not every true love is a twin flame. It's not necessarily a twin flame. So there's different timelines in this universe, or in this multiverse, I should say. And if you can imagine being with your person that you have actually met in person, only because it's possible. It is possible. It's just your job to get into the right energy. Again, I talk about this in other videos, and then you attract them. It is possible, even if you don't have these Saturn connections. Remember what I said earlier. It's a blueprint. It's a program that is written, but like any computer program, I'm not an expert in computer programs, but you can overwrite codes. And if you do your shadow work and your manifesting work, you can overwrite codes. And then even with no Saturn connections, you can turn something or someone into a long-lasting life partner and true love. If you do the work, that is vital. If you have a celebrity crush, that does not mean that they are your twin flame or that you necessarily would manifest them, because then you would most likely, if you don't even know them in person, there must be something that you see in them. It must be some traits you like, and then if you would most likely rather manifest somebody who has similar traits than them, what you see in them. It doesn't have to be them because you don't know that person. So try to find out, what do you see in them, what kind of attribute you like their art, then maybe you should become an artist if you see something in them, or you can of course manifest somebody who is artistic. Do you like them for doing charity work? Then you can do charity work, or you can manifest somebody who does that. Try to find out what you see in them, what you project onto them. Celebrities, they're like a blank canvas, and people project all kind of stuff onto them. Person A may be projecting completely different stuff on the same person than person B does, so you would rather manifest somebody who has those attributes you like. So please don't think this person, unless of course celebrities can be twin flames as well, absolutely. And if they are your twin flame, then you will have met them. So please watch my videos on twin flame coaching or manifesting in order to find out how you can manifest your happy outcome. And you can contact me for personal coaching if you are interested in that, and I'm sure I can shove you a little bit along your journey to get you closer to your goal or to your end game, of course. And I see you in a personal coaching if you're interested, or in other videos. But I hope you liked my video. If you did, then please subscribe for more information on the subject. Remember, it is part 13 out of a series. There will be more videos. And of course, I have other playlists on twin flames, on manifesting, and also on astrology. And also I do have celebrity synastry or celebrity analysis. Are they twin flames or not? And you can check out those videos if you're interested in that. Till then, I wish you all the best now. Bye bye.